Sorry to keep you waiting, strangers. Sorry to keep you waiting, strangers. We gotta mute that. Sorry to keep you waiting, strangers. We gotta mute that. All right, welcome back to Story Time with Johnny. We are currently reading Beowulf. Where we left off, the King Hrothgar and his kingdom had been under siege regularly by a creature called Grendel, who is a monstrous being, somewhat of a troll, but not quite a troll. And so, unexpectedly, he received a visitor. That visitor was Beowulf, who had traveled from a faraway kingdom with his band of hardened warriors. And they single-handedly, and by they I mean Beowulf, single-handedly, literally, with his bare hands, killed the creature Grendel. And he got a hug from the queen, Wealhtheow, and they then recounted a story of a previous hero that they reminded him of. That's not important to the plot. I won't cover that. And so now they are hanging out in glory, celebrating the victory of Beowulf. We're on chapter 20. Hrothgar replied, the ruler of the Scyldings, "Ask not about gladness. Grief is renewed for the Danish people. Aschere is dead, the elder brother of Ermenloth the Dane. Gone is my counselor, my close adviser, my shoulder companion when me in warfare shielded our heads as troops clashed in conflict, striking boar helmets. So should a warrior be, a loyal leader of men, as Aschere surely was. Here in Heorot he was slain by the hand of a wandering marauder. I know not where she went from here, exulting in the horrid carcass, reveling in her feast. Thus she avenged the feud from your slaughtering her son 2 nights ago. In fearsome fighting with your powerful grip, since he had long while destroyed and depleted, fully equipped, with his war band marching on foot, shouldering their shields. The tracks of the enemy were clear to see a long path through the woods, going over the ground, heading straight toward the murky moor where the mother of Grendel bore the lifeless corpse of the best of chieftains who ruled with Hrothgar over their homeland. The noble band of warriors picked their way over steep stone slopes, up a narrow path, going one by one on the unknown way, by high headlands home to many monsters. Hrothgar rode ahead with few advisors, from among his wise men to scour the area, when he abruptly encountered great mountain trees leaning out over masses of old grey stone, a wood without joy, overhanging the water stirred up with blood. Then all the Danes suffered, their spirits in pain, as grief pierced the nobles, these friends of the Scyldings, for many a thane felt comrade loss when they came upon the head of Aschere on the cliff by the mere. Brave warriors looked on waters roiling with blood, seething with gore. Time and again the horn sounded a song eager for battle as the war band rested. They saw in the water a great swarming of serpents. Dig that alliteration. Strange sea beasts roaming around the mere, and water monsters sprawling on the slopes of the cliffs, which often at mid-morning set out to hunt prey, bringing sorrow to many along the sail road, these dragons and beasts. They slid from the banks, bulging with bitter hate, when they heard the call of the war horn for battle. A Geatish warrior cut off the life. The warring in waves of one such monster with a bow-shot arrow so that the strong shaft sank into its heart. Then was it slower in swimming through seas, as it was seized in the grip of death. That wondrous wave-roamer was quickly grappled with ferocious force, right there in those waters, by spears tipped with cruel barbs for attacking boars and dragged onto shore. There men looked on that strange beast. Ducky, hush! There men looked on that horrible strange beast. Then Beowulf put on his armor for battle, without fear for his life. His coat of mail, with hard links forged by hand, broad and well-fashioned, was sufficiently strong to safeguard his life while searching the waters. So no battle-clashing might injure his breast, nor furious foe's grasp might rob him of life. And a gleaming helmet guarded his head, for whatever he met at the bottom of the mere, which means lake, plunging in surging waters, wearing that treasure with splendid bands encircled, as a smith in old times had fashioned weapons for war, adorned with wonders, the likeness of boars, so that no sword or battle blade might ever bite through to bring harm to the hero. Then to aid him in his time of need, Hrothgar's hall speaker did not lend the gate the least powerful of weapons, a great hilted sword by the name of Hrunting, Ducky, Sushi, Calm which was one of the foremost of ancient treasures, a blade of iron etched with adders and twine, made strong by battle blood. Never had it failed any man whose hands had wielded it in the heat of battle, daring to go forth on a venture fraught with terrors to the homeland of foes. Nor was it the first time the sword was called on to perform deeds of courage. It seems that strong Ungfr, the son of Ecglaf, did not bear in mind the taunts he had spoken before. Drunken with wine when he lent his great weapon to the better sword warrior, he would not himself dare to take a chance with his life under the war of the waves, doing deeds of bravery. Thus he lost lasting fame, his reputation for boldness. That was not so for Beowulf, as he armed himself with war gear for battle. "22. Then Beowulf spoke, the son of Ecgtheow. Consider now, famous kinsman of Halfdan, wise prince and gold-giving friend to the people, I am eager for this exploit that we two spoke of. If in relieving your need I should lose my life, I ask you ever after to assume the place of devoted father when I have departed. May you keep watch over my young warriors, my comrades in arms, if in combat I perish. Also, dear Hrothgar, send on to Higelac the trove of treasures that you gave to me. Thus may the king of the Geats, the kin of Hrethel, see in that gold when he stares on the treasures that I met here a great munificent ruler, a giver of gold rings, and took joy while I could. And do let Unferth, that wildly known warrior, have the ancient heirloom, the wave-patterned sword with its sharp blade. Meanwhile, with Hrunting I will seek glory, or death will sweep me away." After these words, the prince of the Vetter Geats hastened away with courage, not waiting at all for any reply. Roiling waters enveloped the battle-brave man. Then some time passed before he might make out the bottom of the mere. At once the one who was thirsting for war, who ruled over these waters 100 half-years, grim and bloody, greedy, saw that a man sought from above this world of strange monsters. She stretched out to attack him, seizing the hero in horrible grasps. Yet she did not do harm to his sturdy body, for in his sturdy body, for ringed mail surrounded him, so that she would get out of their falafel. For ringed mail surrounded him, so that she might not pierce through that protection, between the locked rings with her loathsome talons. The sea-wolf wrestled this prince in ringed armor, bore him down to the bottom, to her own hall, so he could not, though his courage was strong, wield any weapons. There he was, hard pressed by strange beasts in the water. Many sea monsters tore at his mail shirt, with their savage tusks pursuing their prey. Then the hero discovered that he was inside some enemy hall, where he was not threatened by water at all, nor might he be touched by sudden surgings of flood because of the hall roof. He saw light of a fire, a brilliant gleaming, brightly shining. The hero saw clearly the demon of the deep, the mighty mere woman. He repaid her fierce attack with his battle blade, not holding back his stroke. So the ring-adorned sword sang out on her head a war song greedy for blood. Then the Get found that the battle flasher had lost power to bite, so to slash away life, for the sword edge failed the prince in his need. Till now it prevailed in hand-to-hand fighting, shearing through the helmet and the mail of a fated man. This was the first time the great treasure had failed to live up to its fame. Then Higelac's kinsman thought only one thought, not to give up his courage, being mindful of glory. The angry warrior threw down the patterned weapon, adorned with art, where it lay on the ground. I skipped a bit. No, I didn't skip a page. The angry warrior threw down the patterned weapon, adorned with art, where it lay on the ground, strong and steel-edged. He put trust in his strength, the might of his hand grip. Thus shall a man do when he seeks to gain long-lived glory in furious combat, not caring for his life. Not flinching from the feud, the prince of the War Geats grasped hold of the shoulder of the mother of Grendel, for that's whom he was fighting. And bulging with rage, fighting hard in the battle, he swung around till she fell on the floor. Right away after that, she repaid his tactic and crushed him against her in brutal embrace. Ducky, be nice. She wrestled to throw her spirit-weary foe, the strongest of warriors, till he slipped and fell down. She sat on her hallguest and drew out her dagger, broad and bright-edged, hoping to avenge her son, her only offspring. Across his shoulders lay the woven mail shirt, watching over his life, guarding against both knife point and blade. Then the son of Ecgtheow, stout hero of the Geats, would have journeyed to death under wide earth, except that the battle shirt, the mail made for war, providing protection, and the holy god decreed which was the victor. For the wise lord, the ruler of heaven, decided according to right, so the hero of the Geats easily got to his feet. Reminiscent of Lord of the Rings, isn't it? The scene where Frodo, wearing the shirt, was pierced by the cave troll and lived. Some inspiration there, mayhaps. Then he saw, 23. Then he saw among war gear a victory-blessed sword, an old blade made by giants with edges strong and sharp, the glory of warriors. This was the greatest of weapons, though its size was so large that no man might bear it out on the play of battle. It was huge and heroic, the work of giants. The champion for the Danes, in a dreadful fury, despairing of life, seized the hilt of this new sword, swung its great blade, and angrily struck so that it dug deep in the neck of the monster, Grendel's mother, breaking the bone rings, slicing all the way through her body, doomed by fate, and she fell dead on the floor. The sword sweat blood, while the warrior rejoiced. The light was gleaming, glowing from within, as bright as shining up high in the heavens, the candle of the sky. The hero searched the hall. The Thane of Higelac, raging and resolute, turned by the wall and heaved up the weapon high by the hilt. The sword was not useless to the battle-hardened warrior, and he wished right then to repay Grendel for the many attacks which he had delivered among the West Danes, far more often than one time only, when he slew in their sleep Hrothgar's companions, gorging on 15 of the folk of the Denes as they lay in their beds asleep and unwary, and bore away with them as many more men as gruesome spoils. So the grim champion repaid him for those horrors, as he saw Grendel lying, wearied by war, in his last place of rest, long without life, since his arm was ripped off in their clash at Heorot. The corpse burst open when, even after death, it was struck by the sword, a vicious battle blow, and the hero cut off its head. So Beowulf killed Grendel's mother, stole Grendel's sword, took it back to the hall, and sliced off the head of Grendel, who had lay there rotting. The wise warriors with Hrothgar then saw, as they gazed out over the waters, that the tossing of the waves grew troubled, as blood stained the mere. Gray-haired old men spoke to each other about the great champion, saying they had no hope for the hero's return, that he could come back triumphant in war, seeking their famous lord. For the group agreed that the wolf of the waters had put him to death. By mid-afternoon no man had remained of the brave Scyldings. The gold-giving king had departed for home. The Geats sat still, sick in spirit, and stared at the mere. They wished to see their warlord himself, but had given up hope. Then the blade of the mere sword, drenched in battle blood, began to dissolve into icicles of gore. A great wonder to tell that the weapon was melting much like the ice when the father loosened... Ducky, chill. Go lay down. Chill. No. You leave that kitty alone. You go chill. Sorry about that. Then the blade of the mere sword, drenched in battle blood, began to dissolve into icicles of gore. A great wonder to tell that the weapon was melting much like the ice when the father loosens the bond of the frost, unfastens fetters on the waters, wielding power over seasons and times. That is the true ruler. The prince of the Vettergets took no more treasures away from that hall, though he saw many more, except for Grendel's head, along with the hilt of the much-adorned weapon whose blade had melted. The wave-marked iron burning, for the blood was so hot from the poisonous demon who had died in that place. Then the one who survived the deadly struggle, the fall of his foes, swam up through the water, and waves tossing together throughout the expanse were entirely cleansed, when the alien creature took leave of his life days and this transitory world. The chief of the seamen then swam to the shore, a brave-hearted hero. He rejoiced in the booty, the mighty burden he brought from beneath the waters. The bold war band rushed toward him, all in a crowd, giving thanks to God and shouting with joy that they now could see their prince safe and sound. Then off of that hero the helmet and mail shirt were quickly taken. The mirror grew calm, the water under clouds stained with slaughter blood. Then they went forth along the footpaths, joyful in mood, marching along dirt trails on the well-known way. Bold, noble warriors carried Grendel's head down from the headlands. Where else? A long, hard labor for each of the bearers, all high-spirited men. No fewer than 4 were needed to hold up the head of Grendel on the shaft of the spear, going to the gold hall till presently they came, brave and battle bold, all 14 Gets going together as they marched to Hrothgar's great hall. The valiant chieftain strode among his men through the plain by the mead hall. The leader of these loyal thanes, renowned for deeds, honored with fame as the battle-brave hero, went to the hall to salute King Hrothgar. The Geats bore Grendel's head by the hair out onto the floor where the Danes were drinking, a terror to those nobles. And Wealhtheow, too, was that awesome spectacle for all looking on. 24. Then Beowulf, the son of Ecgtheow, spoke. Hail, son of Halfdan, king of the Shieldings, gladly have we brought you spoils from the sea, as a token of glory for you to gaze on here. I barely survived the battle underwater to return still alive, having done brave deeds under great stress. The deadly struggle at the start would have ended if God had not watched over me. I was powerless to prove my strength with hunting and the fearless fighting, though the weapon was worthy. Yet the ruler over men then granted to me to see a wondrous weapon hanging on the wall, a mighty old sword. As God has often guided one without help from friends, so I heaved it up. Then I slew in the struggle, when I saw my chance, the guards of that dwelling, and the blade burned up on the patterned sword, as blood sprang forth, the hottest of battle gore. Then I carried the hilt away from those... I'm turning Scottish here. Then I carried the hilt away from those fiends, having fittingly avenged the wicked deeds that brought death to the Danes. I promise you now that you may sleep safely here in Heorot with your band of warriors, and all of the thanes from among your people, both youths and veterans. You need not feel fear, O King of the Danes, that your deadly enemies will tear life from your friends, as you feared till now. Then was the golden hilt, the ancient work of giants, given over to the hand of the old warrior, the hoary battle chief, the work of wondersmiths passed into possession of the Lord of the Danes. After the death of the demons and the hostile creature, the enemy of God, guilty of murder, gave up life in this world along with his mother. It came into the power of the best of princes, of those who hold sway in the world between seas, giving rich gifts in the realm of the Danes. Then Hrothgar spoke as he looked on the hilt, the old heirloom, engraved with its tale of origins of ancient strife. When the surging of the sea rushed in a flood, sweeping to slaughter the kinship of giants, of creatures estranged from the eternal Lord, through the whelming waters the rulers dealt them their final retribution. Sounds like the story of the flood. The name was made known, clearly marked out in the shape of runes, shining with gold on the sword guards, for whom the smith first wrought that the best of weapons with twisted grip and patterns of serpents. Thus the wise king spoke, the son of Halfdan, and all fell silent. Ducky, 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 ducky. Do I need to put you away? Do you need time out? Do you need time out? Oh, you be quiet. You be quiet. Come on, come on. Come here, come here, come here. Story time, story time. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay, ducky. Come here, ducky. Come here. Come here, puppy. Oh, everyone wants to see you. Yeah, just chill here. Thus the king spoke. Truly a man may announce, who acts according to right among his own people, as an old guardian of the land, recalling past deeds, that this noble hero here was born the best in history. Your fame is renowned wherever men journey, my dear friend Beowulf, among all the peoples. You hold power with balance, with wisdom of mind. Now I shall fulfill our friendship as we earlier agreed, and you shall bring peace to your people for a long time to come, a source of strength to the heroes. Not so was Hermod to the sons of Ecgtheow, the honorable Shieldings. He did not bring them success, but slaughter instead, and destruction for the people of the Danes. Carried away with rage, he killed table companions, his close, loyal comrades, till this ill-famed prince journeyed all alone from the world of men's joys. Although mighty God had given him power, the pleasures of strength, and raised him in ruling over all other men, yet there grew in his heart a bloodthirsty breast-whore. He gave no treasures to earn glory among Danes, but he dwelt without joy, forced to suffer the rewards of the strife that he caused, the long-lasting evil to his people. Then learn from this, understand proper virtue. I have told you this tale from the wisdom of many winters, for it is wondrous to say how the mighty God, through magnanimous spirit, gives out gifts to the kin of men, their wisdom, lands, and rulership. He is Lord of all things. At times God allows the thoughts of a man of a famous family to turn to what he loves, giving such a man joy in his own land, while holding sway over his stronghold of men. God renders him rulership over such regions, a widespread kingdom, yet the man cannot see, because of his folly, an end to his fortune. He lives his life in the joy of feasting, not at all hindered by sickness or age, his spirit not darkened by sorrow over evil, nor does strife from enemies display sword hatred, but fulfilling his desires, the world goes on, he knows nothing worse. So now Beowulf has slain 2 enemies, Grendel and Grendel's mother. He has returned to the Gold Hall, the Mead Hall, with the good news to King Hrothgar. And there we will end at chapter 25. When I resume this coming Friday, please join me then, stranger, for story time with Johnny.